Hello YouTube! Welcome to the Eugene Tour to YouTube channel. I hope everyone's having a good day. For anyone who's new to this channel, thanks for watching, and subscribe and hit the thumbs up or thumbs down button, leave comments, share, and hit the notification bell. This is a follow-up to a short video I did on my wiring harness. This wiring harness out of my '90 Corvette. It has coming up on 220,000 miles. I think it's 219,000 some odd numbers right now. I will post a link to the video on the first video on the wiring harness up here, and then I'll post another video about the '90 Corvette that I did. Before we start though, let's go here and think about giving. That's right. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is having their 2020 annual winter drive. I go to a lot of car shows that sponsor them, that raise charity for them, and also the Red Cross. Red Cross helps a lot of people. They helped me in the past, so give to them. They're having their annual drive too. Don't be afraid to donate when you get that tax refund. And I am not affiliated with either of these. I am just doing this because it seems like the right thing to do, and I like giving. Now I'll get on with the wiring harness. If I remember correctly, in my first video I showed how bad this battery cable was. And as you look at it right now, it almost looks like brand new. It's all soft and flexible again, and the way I was able to do that was by using a top secret formula for rejuvenating old electrical wires. Okay, I'm only kidding about that. This is the top secret formula. To clean up all the greasy and discolored wires on my electric harness, I just went and got mineral spirits. Or even just plain mineral oil would probably work. Even better. But I rubbed everything down, and it softened up the wires and cleaned them, and a lot of the wires, like these red ones here, are now a nice bright red again, and even a lot of wires that were black, once I wiped them all down with this with the mineral spirits, you can see their colors again, what they're supposed to be, so that helped a lot. Another thing I did was see if I can find a piece. Here we go. This flame retardant sleeve, I actually got off an old set of spark plug wires that I used to have, that I ended up cutting and using for wiring harness in the past, and I ended up using it for this, and it worked really well. I think those were, trying to remember the name of those. Let's see if I can find a piece of them. No, they're live wires. They were expensive spark plug wires, but I didn't like the way they fit because of this covering that made it very difficult to fit them in the car, and I ended up cutting them up and using the sleeves for other things. They work really well for that. Here you can see on the battery cable in the other video, the battery cable is bare back to here. This is where it bolts to the starter. Here you can see where I put the fire retardant sleeve over it, and then heat shrunk it here and over here. The rest of the wire, I got to pick up some more convoluted wiring harness loom stuff, and I'll put that over the rest of this, because this will run behind the between the firewall and the engine, and you don't want to rub it up against the engine and shorten out and grounding and cause an electrical fire. And I was going to put a new battery cable on. The one I got, though, I didn't like. It seemed flimsy. It didn't seem as thick, and it only had one red wire like this for the ECM. It didn't have the thick red wire built into it. And you can see where I slit a sleeve on this and heat shrunk it too. And I'm happy the way that came out. Now, getting back to the rest of the engine harness. One thing I should mention, if I were to send this out and have it rebuilt, there are companies that do that. It probably cost me $1,000 to have that done. And a lot of that cost would be, well, all these pigtails They get pretty expensive. They can there's a lot of them, and they can get pretty expensive. Now I replaced a lot of them over the past. All the fuel injector pigtails for the fuel injectors, those all have been replaced, and all the pigtails for the main sensors. Let's see if I can dig them out here. Give me a few seconds. They're here somewhere. There they are. And such as this pigtail here, this is for the map sensor that I replaced in the past. This pigtail here is for the idle air control valve or solenoid, and this one here is for the throttle position sensor, and this one here is for the temperature sensor on the front of the intake manifold. That's very important because that tells the computer the temperature of your engine. And a lot of these others are still in good shape, like these two here are for the air diverter valve for the smog pump. I may remove them in the future. And this one here, like this is for the AC. That's still in very good shape. A lot of other these I replaced in the past. A couple that I replaced here just recently is this one. This is for the O2 sensor. That's what I replaced while working on the harness now. And let's see, these two right here, which has to do with the transmission rebuild. I'll leave a link up there again for the transmission if you haven't been watching my videos on the transmission rebuild. This is for the torque converter lockup. This is the male end. The female end that's built in the transmission, that's new too. When I came new with the rebuild kit, when I rebuilt the trans. And the VSS, the one on the old one, was really bad shape, so I replaced that. And over time I've replaced quite a few of them. These are called Metri packs. You can't get this kind anymore. I believe you can still get the connectors that are inside them. Those I can get. This part of the wiring harness I'll wrap up better once it's in the car and connect it to the ECM. Another thing I did was Tack Filter from Corvette America. Now these are the original plastic ends on the ends. It comes with the Tack Filter, and comes with two new brass connectors. I don't know if you can see that in there. And you have the option of either soldering these into the system permanently, or reusing these use those connectors with your original connector covers, which is what I chose to do, because then I can remove it if I have to. And of course this will get bolted to the block somewhere. But one thing I should point out about rebuilding an engine wire harness: use good electrical tape. This is Scott brand, 3M brand, Super 88. I'll read what's on the back here. Super 88 provides superior protection, thicker insulation, and increased strength, stretches to insulate, protects against abrasive, moisture, and many chemicals, flame retardant, and lead free. This is far superior to the electrical tape you'll get from Harbor Freight. I've used the electrical tape from Harbor Freight. It's horrible. Another thing I used is the cloth style tape. This I got off of eBay. Came in a 4-pack. It works really good at like these joints here. Where all these everything Y's out and everything. Those it works really good. Where I've used them though on the very ends of the wires like this, they tend not to hold. They tend to want to come back loose a little bit on the end. So that I might replace with regular electrical tape. Here you can see it here, where just when it gets to the end, and I think that has to do with my skin oil getting on them. So that'll probably go over with electrical tape, or who knows. But as far as the convoluted covering, I got 3 different sizes. I believe this is 1/4 inch, and I think that's 1/2 inch, but I'm going to leave links to all that. This here was really expensive, the wide stuff. Thank God I didn't have to use much of it. But I got all this from Summit, and I'll leave links and links to everything I got. Another good thing to have, let me see if I can dig it out here, are these. These keys come in real handy, especially like when I wanted to put the sleeve over this wire here. This is for the knock sensor, and these run pretty close to the header, so I put that fire retardant sleeve over that, and I actually soldered in a whole new wire. I prefer soldering over crimping, and in order to do that I have to remove the plastic end here, and having these keys, you just see if I can give a slight demonstration, but basically you just pick the right size one, you stick it in there, and it pushes right out. Makes things a lot easier. I can't think of too much more to go over. If you look down here on the floor, that's all the old stuff that came off it. The old torque converter lockup solenoid pigtail was originally on the car. I'll take these O-rings off. These silicone O-rings last forever. I'll take them off and save them. You never know when you need them. And that's the big mess there, and greasy it was too. In my original video, I think I showed in this area here where it was there was a bunch of wires that had bare spots on them. I took care of all of them, retaped them all up, and that's all good to go. Surprised that never caused a problem, and I think the reason it never caused a problem is because it goes to these that air diverter valve. That's what the wires were for, and you don't get on a 90 Corvette that doesn't give a engine code for anything wrong with the smog pump system. So it probably was shorting out and never working right for God knows how long. I just never realized it. There are a few things I still got to do. I'll wait till I get it in the car, and like I got to remove the distributor to install this. See if I can get this out of the bag. This goes to the HEI distributor. This plugs right into the distributor cap, and the tabs on mine are broken off. Now, I could resolder. I'll have to see how the wires are, but I couldn't resolder these wires right onto it, the pigtail, or I could just pop these connectors out and pop the old connectors into the new plastic housing. So that's an option. This wire here, I'll go over real quick. If you want, this is something I added. This goes, I just cut it because I had it soldered together. This actually goes to the heated O2 sensor. I converted it to a heated O2 sensor and a wideband. And what it does is it hooks to the same wire that has to do with the fuel pump relay. And the fuel pump relay will only kick on when there is enough pressure from, let's see if I can find that connector without digging too deep. It should be here somewhere. Here it is, right here. Yeah, basically this hooks to a oil pressure switch, which is located right next to your oil pressure sending unit. This one would be for the oil pressure sending unit. That sends the signal to the gauge on the dash, tells you what your oil pressure is. This one just reads like, I believe, 7 to 10 psi. When it detects 7 to psi while you're cranking the motor, it'll send the signal to the relay and enable the fuel pump to engage. Without that oil pressure, the car won't start. It's a good safety feature. And the reason I have it wired up to the wideband and heated O2 is because you don't want them on when the engine isn't running. Otherwise, they won't last long. We'll end up burning up. So, if anyone has any questions, leave comments in the comment section below. And like I said, please subscribe and hit the notification bell and share with your friends. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to find out anything, or if I leave anything out that you'd like to know more about, like I said, leave comments below. Thanks for watching.